loves a road trip.
Yeah.
That's one thing about Betty. She's always here for a road trip.
So where are we going first then, Rue?
Well, I was doing a bit of research. There's Dungeness, which is known for having this really unusual landscape, and that's near Camber Sands, where the cottage by the sea that you booked for tonight is. And then tomorrow, I reckon we can go and explore Rye, which is about 10 minutes drive from there.
Oh cool, yeah, I've heard of Rye. That's near the winery as well, isn't it? Tillingham.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we head there on our way back home.
Sounds perfect. And I'm also just really looking forward to seeing some nature that's different from where we live in Wales.
Well, that's the thing. You associate that kind of like wet green forest with a lot of like, you know, nature and wildlife and biodiversity, but actually this is one of the most biodiverse places in the UK. Think of like sea kale, sea orchids.
And why did you gesture towards me when you said sea kale?
You do love a bit of kale.
So speak to someone that like lives there and is inspired by the place and like it's part of their work and their practice.
Hi. Hello. How's it going? I'm Rue.
I'm Lydia.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, everyone.
This is Betty. Paddy?
Hello, Betty. Yes, smashing.
She likes you, a bit of a tail wag.
You just never get bored here, so it's constantly changing, and the seasons are very sequential.
Yeah.
So it changes colour by month.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the bugloss, there's the sea kale, and then the different birds come at different times. It's just it's like an ever-changing kind of poem.
Can you tell us a bit about the space you've created here? We had obviously like a wander around when we got in here.
I built my painting studio to begin with. Studio 1 was an old winch shed, like a boathouse, the last one on Greatstone Beach. And the dome is for discussions and group work. Authenticity is 100% Dungeness. If you can't be, you know, top dog here because the beach is bigger than everybody and takes it all back.
Yeah.
You know, there used to be plenty of sort of old dwellings and sheds and workshops, and over the 20-year period they've all just been blown over.
Wow.
Everything gets, you know, reabsorbed back into the beach.
Do you think it creates a certain aesthetic in Dungeness because of the constant battle with elements?
Oh yeah, you've got to be practical. And once you become practical and good with tools, then you start to make things. This place engenders nostalgia in people, but it's a nostalgia for a place they've never been, for some kind of life that they haven't quite had yet. And that actually, I feel that, and that keeps me motivated to stay here.
Wow, that's a good old reason. It's that constant, to your point, the elements making you feel really small and really connected.
Yeah, it's bigger than you.
It's bigger than you, and that's so powerful, I think, when you think about creation.
I agree.
The cool thing about the Gallivant is that everything is like locally sourced.
And I think this came from Rye Harbour.
Yeah. And then the sea purslane, I believe the chef foraged this morning, which is really cool. It's really good.
Yeah? Sea buckthorn, that's the yellowy kind of dressing on there. And then we've got purslane, which is the leafy bit here. Try one.
Well, I'm always telling you to make sure you Google things before you eat them, or check with my dad, because my dad's really good. Because that time that you gave me that weird coral mushroom in Portland, and it was in every meal and made me feel really ill.
Well, me too, I was in there with you. I'm really glad that we got to see the sea buckthorn as it grows in its habitat.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think she loved running around Camber Sands when we were like prancing around the beach.
Yeah, she loved that, didn't she?
Yeah. That was a sweet little moment for her and for me, you know, dog and father coming together as one to play.
I was also reading that, like, obviously this was a Coast Guard's cottage, which is kind of funny because obviously it was like a place where people would, like, you know, be guarding who was coming in and out. But then also, apparently, there was, when the coast guards would be gone, there would be someone with a light sort of like signalling to smugglers, like, it's okay, come on in. So it's like this funny tension here, I feel, where there was like at once like people sort of saying, no, we're going to protect the coastline. And then also this kind of like punk underground of someone with a light being like, get on in. I'm so confused why I didn't wear a matching bucket hat. What was I thinking?
Hi.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Welcome to Rye Harbour Nature
Hey Barry.
Reserve.
Thanks, we're
Nice to meet you.
excited.
Fantastic day.
Yeah, it's
Lovely
gorgeous.
high tide. So the shingle that we're standing on is made up of millions of pebbles, and over many centuries the shingle has been pushed by storms. So there used to be a very large prosperous town called Winchelsea, somewhere near the river mouth is now, and that was all washed away 700 years ago. And the World War II pillboxes just here mark where the coast was 70 years ago. And so the land is changing, and it will change in the future as sea level rises. Look, there's a bird. Look, there's an egret.
Oh yeah.
He's waiting for his fish supper. They're spread up through France and through lots of wetland reserves, and they now nest here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got 8 pairs nesting here this year. Yeah, you hear so much about wildlife declining, but there's a lot that's doing really well.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, that's a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
That feels nice.
Yeah.
Lots of hope. There's lots of places like this that have got good stories to tell. So there's over 500 different flowers that live at Rye Harbour Nature Reserve.
Yeah.
And some of them occur nowhere else in Britain. There's one that was extinct and we've managed to reintroduce.
This isn't sea kale by any chance, is it?
It is. But you need to come back in late May and smell it when it's in flower. So
Really?
on calm days, the whole beach smells of honey.
Wow.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Hi, I'm Claire. Welcome to the Mermaid Inn.
I think it's really interesting how Rye feels really quaint when you arrive, and in
Yeah.
fact is like steeped in a lot of quite complex history.
Obviously, many years ago, the sea used to come right up to Rye.
Oh, really?
So it was obviously a major port.
Yeah.
And very easy access for people from the continent to come over, and hence the smuggling routes.
Right.
The timbers, a lot of them, especially in the foyer, are old ship's timbers.
Of course, Rye being a port, this was quite used by smugglers and kind of...
Yes, so the notorious Hawkhurst gang, so they were known to use the small lounge, which faces onto Mermaid Street, as one of their ports, and they would. The story goes that they would sit there by the window with their guns on the table. There were tunnels going from here to the harbour at the bottom of the road as well, and we've found about 5 more tunnels that we don't know about.
Are you Alex?
I'm Alex.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So nice to meet you.
Yeah. And my business is Alex MacArthur Interiors.
Oh, cool.
And this is the monastery.
Can you tell us a bit about where you like source things and your inspiration?
I buy all over Europe. I like big statement pieces.
Yeah.
My taste just kind of evolved. The monastery is a bit of a magnet, and so there are creative, interesting people visiting all the time, and you never know who's going to come, and so that's really inspiring. And I mean, interestingly, the monks who lived here in all of those years ago, centuries ago, they were actually hermit monks, and so they lived here without ever having to leave. And so you do feel a bit like you can live in a world of your own here. When I found the building, I had no choice, I just had to get it, but it was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life.
You got me salad.
I did. I hope you're not going to be disappointed. It's salmon.
You've set it up now, haven't you?
Well, it's salmon, which I feel like you always gravitate towards. It's Marks and Sparks, which you can't really fault. But the way the cucumber's sliced, it just reminds me of a school dinner.
Oh, right.
It's not chopped up into quarters or anything. It's just like whole slices,
Well,
and they're quite
salmon.
they're quite
Why
thick.
wouldn't you just go for like an egg cress? Something iconic.
What, with bread?
Yeah.
Because you might say I'm gluten free.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Lydia.
Ben.
Nice to meet you, Ben.
Hey Ben, nice to meet you. I'm Rue.
Welcome to
This is
Tillingham.
Betty, Ben.
Cheers.
So tell us a little bit about where we are.
I'd formed this plan in my head where I knew that I wanted to grow grapes, but you can't just grow grapes, you've got to have other elements like the accommodation, the food. I love cooking, I love hospitality, I love going out to eat, and I knew that I could farm the veg, have the livestock, have the wine, do the rooms and the restaurant, and the whole thing just fits and works together.
Yeah.
It's like the sheep are out in the vineyards in the winter, and then they're fertilising, controlling the weeds. The stuff from the restaurant is composted and goes back into the field. So it's all like this closed loop and this sort of like holistic way of managing a farm.
But you've built like a little world.
Yeah. I mean, some people might think it looks like a bit like a cult. But
I'm in.
Yeah, all right, fine, great. A week ago, we picked all of the grapes together and then smashed them all up together. There's 13 different varieties, so there's reds and whites and pink skin varieties as well. Which is called a field blend.
It smells delicious.
Yeah. Oh, it does smell amazing.
It's a real mixture of stuff. So you've got some like aromatic whites.
That's delicious.
Eyes widen.
Which have got like a lychee rose sort of quality. But then you've got some white grapes, and then you've got red grapes that bring that interesting bit of colour as well. So there's a lot going on in there.
You're so good at breaking it down, I just think it's absolutely delicious. Did you see him harvest those mushrooms as well, we pointed out?
Yeah, I feel like that was a real moment for us as mushroom foragers.
I know.
I feel like us pointing out a mushroom to him that he'd not known and he was going to eat that evening made me really chuffed.
Yeah, and it's slightly nervous that I'd given the wrong recommendation, but I think you'll be okay.
Don't say that.
I did double check it, he'll be okay.
Shut up.
He's
Oh my
going to
God,
really enjoy
imagine.
those mushrooms.
I was hoping to make a new friend out of Ben, and then you're going to poison him. Do you know what as well? It was a really perfect way to end this road trip, because I feel like we've met some amazing people, some really creative people. We've ate some amazing food and like seen some beautiful nature. But I felt like Tillingham was a really nice kind of like representation of everything we've experienced.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of like symbiotic relationship with nature, that kind of idea of like creating your own little creative world in the way that Alex MacArthur does. I feel like it kind of like wrapped a bow on all the different types of experiences we've had, you know?
Wow, that was really conceptually tight.
Oh my God, thank you.
I'm so glad you said that, because I never could have come up with something like that.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Well done. You know I married you for a reason.
I know, and here it is.
Yeah. You married me because I could recommend mushrooms, and then I'll send an email to Ben and be like, hey Ben, remember I recommended that mushroom? Hope it was delicious. Yeah, but want to come stay for a couple of nights? Can you hook us up?
And Ben will be like, I've only just recovered.